Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
I was 9 years old when I first watched The Matrix as part of a double feature with another rented VHS, Austin Powers' The Spy Who Shagged Me. Two movies from 1999 that changed the course of blockbuster movie making forever and in equal parts. I will not go into that any further.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Though I was another 2 years or so short of getting all my movie news from IGN, the beginning of my Dickensian journey to working here, I had a sense of the impact this movie was having in real time. Any discussions of what the future could look like turned to The Matrix because, as the year 2000 was rapidly approaching, it felt like the first blockbuster to both understand computer technology's place in the present day while also being a cautionary tale for where it could bring us in the future.
Only human.
Dodge this.
The 90s represent a turning point for computer-generated imagery in movies, thanks to VFX houses like ILM and directors Steven Spielberg and James Cameron. Dinosaurs, liquid metal Terminators, and realistic sinking ocean liners danced through our dreams of what was possible. Releasing with less than a year left in the century, The Matrix was a culmination of what had come before it and a challenge to those who would follow. Mirrors melting into a mercurial goop and pulling Neo in, skin growing over Thomas Anderson's mouth and drowning out his screams, the endless white void of the construct. The Matrix's effects are all about drawing the viewer into its fictional world and selling the unreality of the simulation.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
And how do you sell a character being able to dodge a bullet? Slow down the rest of the world and watch that baby fly in bullet time. The effect was achieved through a combination of practical and visual effects. The actor was strapped into a harness for their gravity-defying trick and placed in the middle of a green screen set. Built into that set was a 360-degree array of still cameras, all of which were programmed to take successive photos around the actor. After a pass in post-production to add in the background and extra frames of the actor's motion between still camera shots, Matrix masterminds the Wachowskis were left with a piece of visual language most Western audiences had never imagined possible. The first 5 years or so after The Matrix's release were absolutely littered with movies and TV shows paying homage to the time-freezing magic. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, Shrek, Scary Movie, the list goes on and on. I first remember clocking this phenomenon watching, and I am delighted to resurface this movie in your brain, 2002's Kung Pao Enter the Fist. For a modestly budgeted film deeply reliant on its visual effects budget to tell its story, Kung Pao still found cash to burn on animating a fully CG cow firing milk bullets from its udders for Chosen One to dodge. Was that because the producers truly believed in this throwaway gag like it was going to be the funniest thing in the movie? No, it's because if your trailer didn't have bullet time in it in the first few years after The Matrix came out, how could you be sure anyone would go see your movie?
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
For The Matrix's complicated concept to work, the Wachowskis needed more than just good CGI to bring audiences in. The directors were heavily influenced by the wire harness combat of Hong Kong action films and believed the high-flying kicks and flips would communicate how independent operatives in The Matrix can break the laws of physics. The Matrix's first use of bullet time comes in the opening scene. Besides being an effective way to tell audiences that the rules of this world were not those of our own in the opening minutes, it also gave the characters' fights an air of unpredictability. You never knew when someone was going to run across a wall or backflip 15 feet in the air over an opponent. Neo's journey to becoming the One turns on the moment where he realizes that he doesn't need machine guns or helicopters to master his destiny. Everything he needs is already inside him. The time has come, and Neo has made good on Morpheus' prediction that he no longer needs to dodge bullets. He could stop them with his freaking mind. By shifting the focus of action movies away from car and gun-based brutality and towards hand-to-hand fights, The Matrix encouraged the blockbusters that followed it to make their action beats be important for a character's personal development as well. The film's visual achievements may be its most obvious contribution to 21st century film, but The Matrix's balletic combat also sparked a demand for Eastern martial arts experts in the industry, leading to an influx of new voices and styles decades ahead of the reckoning on diversity going on at present.
What does that mean?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
The Matrix's debut both benefited from and further fueled the growing anxieties about our interconnected future, which were hitting fever pitch as the world marched towards the takeover of the dreaded Y2K virus, a computer bug that some believed would send us back to the Stone Age the second the clock ticked midnight on the year 2000. You're likely watching this on a handheld computer exponentially more powerful than the off-white monoliths of old, so we know how that went. But plenty of people were genuinely afraid of this looming tech specter, and movie theaters have always been one of the primary places we as a culture process those kinds of fears. With The Matrix, the Wachowskis became arguably the first filmmakers to successfully translate the sensation of playing a video game onto film. While video game adaptations released to that point depicted the aesthetic of franchises like Mortal Kombat and Super Mario Bros., to varying degrees, The Matrix felt more like an adaptation of video games as a medium. Before the internet truly took over in the 21st century, video games were one of the most common ways for people to interact with technology, and the Wachowskis lean on that in The Matrix. Throughout the movie, The Matrix relies on visual language to reinforce the simulation as an analog to a video game. Characters have to jack in to play, they have every kind of weapon at their disposal, and eventually they reach a level of mastery such that they are able to see the code laid bare before them. It all makes sense.
Whoa.
A fight that would have been impossible at the start of the movie is now little more than ones and zeros raining down around the one, who's here to code and kick ass.
This is the world that you know.
The Matrix's influence on the 21st century may feel most apparent in our films right now, but its legacy could end up being more in line with that of Morpheus's red pill, the one which awakens you and shows you just how deep the rabbit hole of consciousness goes. In the wake of The Matrix's release, the scientific community began research into whether or not the Wachowskis' nightmare vision of our future could actually come to pass, and depending on which theory you subscribe to, it may already have done so. There's nothing in the way of consensus. If there was, trust me, you'd have heard about it. But studies have produced results that peg the odds of our entire reality being a simulation as being anywhere between 1 in a billion and 1 in 2. So functionally impossible, or a coin flip. So as you ponder the nature of your reality as The Matrix Resurrections arrives, try not to get too caught up in this thought. The Matrix already has you. Thanks for watching. For more on The Matrix Resurrections, be sure to check out our review as well as our recap of the Matrix timeline. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.